Okay, the name of this lesson that we are going over today is called The Relative Age of Rocks. A couple things I want to point out quickly to you. We're going to talk about how old are rock layers, and we're also going to talk about how can rock layers change over time. I'm sorry about the noise outside. It's the end of the day, so you're going to hear some people talking there. All right, so a couple of terms I want you to know. These are going to be located on Google Classroom. So if you miss one of these definitions or you can't read my handwriting, feel free to go on to Google Classroom and you can look it up yourself. Now the first one is called relative age. That's how old the geologists want to know the relative age. That means how old is the rock in relation to the rocks nearby. So we find a particular group of rocks in a place, and we notice that they're a little bit different than the rocks nearby. And we want to figure out, well, how old is this rock in relative age to those rocks nearby? So that means you're picking up a rock, you're looking at it, or you may be looking at a rock structure, and you're trying to figure out how old are these rocks in comparison with those nearby. Absolute age is the number of years that have passed since that rock was formed. So, for example, if I were to give you a rock or you found one, you would want to know, well, how old is that rock, or how long has it been since this rock formed? Laws of superposition. If you remember in a previous lesson, we learned that the prefix added to a word changes the definition. Super means above. So in undisturbed horizontal sedimentary rock layers, the oldest rocks are located at the bottom and the younger rocks are located at the top. So we're going to talk about that today. Superposition. We're going to look at a diagram that shows kind of a cross section of rock layers, and what I want you to remember on this is the older rocks are on the bottom, the younger rocks are located at the top. A couple more terms here that we need to know is extrusion. Extrusion means that lava has come up out of the ground, and when it reached the surface of the ground, it cooled off and it stayed there. And it formed a rock or an igneous rock, and those are located on the surface of the ground. Intrusion means that magma comes up and it pushes into the bodies of rocks below the surface. The magma cools and hardens into a mass of igneous rocks. Now you'll notice we have the word igneous rock, so you'll need to go back and look at your previous notes to see, well, what kind of rock is an igneous rock? So intrusive, again, is magma pushes into the bodies of rocks below the surface. The magma cools and hardens into a mass of igneous rocks. Now, a fault, it's not my fault, it's yours. Sorry, bad joke there. A fault is a break in the Earth's crust. So we're going to talk about at different locations around the world, there are fault lines, and when those faults move or when they break, I told you it's the end of the day, when those faults shift together and they move and they break, that's a fault in the surface there. So we'll talk about those. So I know that it wasn't a very long lesson. I threw a couple of things to you. I just told you I wanted to make it a short lesson for you to kind of give you an idea of what this looks like. Again, this is one method. The other method would be I would put the dry erase board on the table for you, and you could create your lesson there. I'll demonstrate one of those for you in class. But what I want you to do now is you're going to work with your partners, and I want you to take a few minutes after we've watched this video. Of course, you're taking notes, but I want you to look at this segment of the lesson that I gave you, and with your partners, you're going to work together just 5 minutes, maybe less than that, kind of write down some notes that you can add to what I talked about. And we're going to do a walk and talk in just a few minutes, and I'll explain it to you. Hope you have a blessed day. Thank you for your time. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.